Hey, business owners, what if you could cut all of your business expenses in half? It would be amazing, right? Well, you could start by switching to Spectrum Business. With Spectrum Business, you get the best internet and phone service for half of what you're paying now. Call 855-212-1788 to get faster internet, proven reliability, and the most value. Only with Spectrum Business. Call 855-212-1788 today to switch to Spectrum Business.
Odyssey now has hundreds of new exclusive music stations for you to discover your new summer soundtrack.
Get moving with worthy workouts for a cardio sesh fueled by today's top artists.
Hanging with your crew? Throw it back with Picnic Party for old school jams for your cookout.
Or sail away with Odyssey's new yacht rock station, Jugger Yacht.
There are hundreds of new exclusive stations to check out today.
For summer barbecues,
road trips,
or relaxing poolside.
For every mood, every interest, every passion. By Odyssey. Brought to you in part by Macy's and Geico.
Welcome in our friend Jim Colony. He's made it in the building. You were doing appearances on other stations before this.
What? I was on with Larry and Kevin, yes.
He gets in here. He goes on all kinds of other stations. The guy is like...
I said earlier, Jim, you're kind of like... You're a cowboy on a steel horse you ride.
The old cowboy. He's radio guy emeritus.
And you just kind of do what you want now.
It's incredible. Reimagine, Jim Colony.
Yes.
How was your weekend? You spent a lot of time in front of the television watching that British, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And it was weird. Well, yesterday, I was writing up an NHL expansion story, and watching golf at the same time.
There we go.
So I missed the Pirates' 6-run first inning, but I have since seen it, of course. Marcel Siem, by the way.
How old?
41.
Oh my gosh.
He just turned 41. I figured the guy with a man bun had to be what, like around 30?
Well, yeah, or late
so?
20s. You would.
Not necessarily, because the one Spaniard had the man bun for a long time.
Villegas?
No, the older guy. I can't think of his name. Who's the older guy? Not Villegas. No. The older guy with a hyphenated last name.
Was Olazabal?
No.
Cabrera Bello?
No, who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Maybe Portuguese, actually. Either Portuguese or Spanish. He had a man bun and long hair for a long time. Real ladies guy. Who am I thinking of?
I don't know, but I was surprised. But I was surprised that the guy's 41. I was going to say because he seems like kind of a fun guy to root for. He's got a little bit of a temper, which is good. And if he's going to be at the Open here, but that's going to be when's that 2025?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
the guy that went through that big stretching routine all the time, and he'd stretch way down. Who am I thinking of?
You got me.
Yeah, I know.
I can see him in my head. I just can't. No,
man. All right, we'll talk about Penguins, and then I'll think about it.
Somebody will text or tweet. Or
Jimenez. No, it's not.
He's the guy with a cigar.
No, it's is that who it is? He had a man bun.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that's him.
Yes.
I think that's who you're thinking of.
Is that who I'm thinking of?
Miguel Angel Jimenez.
Yes,
Jimenez?
exactly. Real ladies' man kind of guy, right?
Well, he's Latino. Come on.
Yes. There's Jim.
Thanks,
Jim.
Yes,
well,
Miguel,
isn't that
Miguel
that's
Angel Jimenez.
Yeah,
yes.
Isn't that the
and
no?
He's
That's the
57.
Right? Didn't he have like a man bun?
He used to have long hair.
Yeah.
Or he would put it in like a ponytail.
Like a little pony
almost.
there.
Oh, ponytail.
Right.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yes, I remember that.
Anyway, to Penguins. Everybody's talking about the couple stories that are right there, right? Mm-hmm. Tanev being exposed. You make you protect Carter and all of that. Are we missing the Matheson situation in that it's a big surprise that you go and you protect a guy? Yeah, Miguel Angel Jimenez. A bunch of texts. Thank you. No, I mean that. Thank you to everybody. His name escaped me. But are we missing the Matheson situation in this vortex? Because I seem to think we kind of are.
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised by it. I mean, to me, what I would have done is I would have put him out there to see if because the Penguins have a glut of. I don't know if glut's the right word, but they've got depth at left-handed defense.
Well, what I take it too is that they're willing to just cast Cody Ceci to free agent. Like they had an opportunity to protect Ceci's rights and be able to negotiate with him before free agency opened.
I thought when the McCann deal went down that might have been part of it.
Yeah.
But it also suggested I'm sure that they've had discussions with him because he played, and we talked about it during the season, all season long, and that's the thing though is that Matheson and Ceci, the way they meshed together, they made each other better, I think. And I don't, but Ceci made himself a lot of money last season with the way that he played, and it looks like he's not going to get it here. And you know what? Hey, a guy in his position at his age, he's foolish if he doesn't test free agency, right? I mean, he could, as much as he likes it here,
to cash in.
Yes, you only have one
off
chance.
Of what may be his best season, right?
Right, one chance to do it, and I don't blame him for doing it, but. The Penguins, there are still going to be some trades here. But it is weird though. What did they get back in return for McCann? They got salary cap money.
Cap
That's
space,
basically
Well,
it.
that coupled with whoever that Seattle picks up, if they pick up Zucker, it's best case scenario. One would think from a salary cap standpoint, you get the $2.9 million from McCann, and then you get $5.5 from Zucker.
Yeah, and I know Scott Burnside he'll educate us here coming up later this hour about this. There are a lot of guys out there that make a lot of money that Seattle could pick up. I mean, starting with Carey Price,
Right.
And so they have to construct a roster, and you talk about from the right, not quite from the right side of the menu, but pretty close, where you have to look at, okay, we can afford to pay this guy that. And I know a lot of people think that I think Seattle taking Tanev is a no-brainer because his salary isn't that prohibitive. And for a team in their position, the term's not prohibitive, I don't think.
No.
And Tanev to me, and I know he was in and out of the lineup last year because of injuries, but
That's just the kind of guy you want on a team.
Oh, absolutely.
On a brand new team where you're looking to build some level of character or some level of identity. Tanev's exactly the guy.
Is it Carter to make a commitment all the way through 2025 to him, to his 32-year-old year? Is it? I don't know. He's hurt a lot. Look, I'm not here to knock Brandon Tanev. I just feel like that the height of his popularity is right now. That a lot of people are building Brandon Tanev to be something where maybe his value is right at where his number is.
Well, because he is the one guy that provides something that I think most Penguins fans feel like they lack, and that's that grit.
But
that
the Seattle
sandpaper.
feel like they need to have him. That's, you know what I mean?
I mean, it depends.
Does he have a value to the Penguins, or does he have just the equal value to Seattle at that number? Because that number goes all the way out. It's not just 3.5 coming up this season. It's 3.5 the year after, the year after, and the year after.
Okay, but I think his Zucker is $2 million more per year,
right?
And even though it's only for 2 years. And I still think
they're not taking Zucker.
I can't imagine that they would. And this could all be very funny. I know some have pointed out that if you look at the defensemen that are available, there's not a whole lot of them.
Yeah, so Pettersson could be
and that might make Pettersson more attractive to a team like that. But he ended up, it looked like that was going to be a solid number 2 pairing with Marino and Pettersson. Again, maybe it was like kind of the reverse of Matheson and Ceci, where both of those guys regressed a little bit.
Yeah.
And, was it the sophomore slump or whatever?
Whatever happens, whoever gets taken, you take the cap space from McCann, you take the cap space from whoever gets taken. That's your cap space to go get yourself a goaltender. And that's what you have to do with that cap space. Even if it means you've lost some grit if Tanev gets picked up by Seattle, the first priority for Ron Hextall this offseason, once they get beyond the expansion draft, is find yourself a goaltender, because the cap space between McCann, what was it, 2.9, and let's say Tanev's the guy taken in the expansion draft, 2.9 plus his 3.5, that's more than enough to go get yourself a goaltender, or maybe even have a little bit left over to bring in another depth forward, another big guy with size who can also skate.
I wouldn't have protected Tanev because I think that Tanev is a guy that's this big protective asset that you have to have. I would have protected him because I would have called the bluff on Carter, because I don't think that somebody would have gone. I don't think they would have gone for Carter.
That surprised me. We talked about it all the time, and other people have too. It's like I can't imagine that Carter's people wouldn't have made it known to Seattle that he had no interest whatsoever in playing
here's
for them.
the part that now the second shoe to drop for me is this. You can make the Bluger acquisition or make the Bluger signing. Okay, that's the first one. The second situation is the Carter situation, that you protect him. Does that then lead into Evgeny Malkin is more hurt than it really at first blush that's what's going on, because now you're really formulating some center depth here.
Well, you're whether you think he's going to be back in November or you think he might not be back until January, either way, you've got to have yourself set up with center depth. So I don't know if it's any indication on the injury and how it's progressing since he had the surgery, but that's why Carter had to be kept around. You had to have that depth. And look, I don't know if Seattle had any interest in him or if he had any interest in telling Seattle to back off or not. I don't know if that happened, but you have to have Carter available and that's why I would have chosen to protect Carter over McCann before they made the McCann deal, because McCann as a center is not the same kind of player as he is on the wing. He just is not. He loses all offensive punch and ability when he's focusing on playing 200 feet. Carter can give you a 200-foot game and play center at both ends of the ice and still provide offense.
And it's time to get on the cap and figure out things much the way that Tampa did. If you're going to play some games fast and loose with Malkin's salary, do what Tampa did. Get ahead of that right now.
Yeah, I don't know how you plan for when he's going to be back, though, and that salary coming back on the books, I guess,
I'll
for lack of a better way to put it.
I'll tell you exactly how you plan for it.
You make a deal then, I guess, and but then people are going to know you're in that position, too. If you're planning on, okay, let's just play this out. Let's say Malkin's, you have an idea Malkin's not going to be back until after Thanksgiving, right? Let's just say you're the Penguins, and that's the timeline that's in your head right now, okay? Well, you can plan for the first couple of months of the season. We've got a little extra space to play with here. Okay, this is good. We can spend maybe a little bit more in free agency than we wanted to. But then you're going to paint yourself into a corner of, well, we've got to get compliant before Malkin can come back off of injured reserve. Everyone else knows it, and they're going to take advantage of us when we look to make a deal. If we're looking to shed a contract mid-season just so we can get Malkin back on the books.
They'd be $9.5 million. Like if they used all of that long-term injury, that's $9.5 million. And they'd be that far over the cap whenever he's ready to return.
Right.
And I don't think you could do what those were extenuating circumstances, and it just happened to mesh together with Kucherov because the shortened season the injury, and they could, okay, look, you could have come back a month earlier. We're going to make the playoffs, but hey.
But if you think you want to spend a couple extra $1 million, you might be able to play with it with Malkin being out for the first couple months of the season if it's going to be that long.
Something else going on in Pittsburgh sports.
And he swings it, lines one over third, fair ball. He's amazing. Big John does it again. Here comes Reynolds to score, and they're going to wave Gamble. He is safe. Nito dropped the throw. Now Nagowski heading to third. He's in there. Blue collar John Nagowski with a 2-run double, and the Pirates lead 3-0.
Big
Blue
Nagowski.
collar. He's going to be building railroads, all of it, right? He's going to do that connector himself. That Cranberry connector came in too early because Nagowski was just going to build it himself.
He can finish the Montfayette Express.
Or he can take over that 579 thing, whatever's supposed to be on the top of that.
Or he can actually fix 28. That I'm 44 years old. It's been under construction. Quite literally. My whole life it has been under construction. He's
Pittsburgh's the best place to live. I don't care what anybody says.
That's Nagowski right there.
Yes.
That's
him.
He's 21 for 64. He's hitting .328. I think you talk to me in 2-3 weeks. I'm not raining on this parade. I think that these things some way fizzle out, but I don't know. He has, in a way, forced a little bit of fly in the ointment here in so much as you're not panicked at that position. And you need guys like that to kind of reinvent their career if you're going to do anything as an organization. It's an intriguing as hell story. I'll give him that.
Look, you've got to give every single one of these Gambles, Defoes, Nagowskis of the world a chance. D. Strange Gordon, if he's ready to come up
they've
after a
already
Frazier
done it with
trade.
like 3 guys that were washouts.
Right. So here's your opportunity.
Jose Batista can go this way sometimes. Stink somewhere else and be good here.
Right.
Why can't that happen?
No, and look, Charrington said it over the weekend. Mackey wrote about it. They need to find these kind of guys. Look, they don't need to hit on all of them. It's like a draft pick, right? You're not going to hit on every single one of those 4 big draft picks that they got. You hope so. You cross your fingers that they all develop. But that can't be the only thing you're doing is drafting, developing. You've also got to be able to bring guys in that you pull off the waiver wire, Nagowski, Gamble, Defoe, and have, if one of them hits, that's a bonus. So you have to find out what you have in those guys.
And you're not contending. You can actually do live in-season tryout.
Yes, that's
basically
exactly
is what it is.
Left base hit for Nagowski. Reynolds touches third. He's going to score. Here comes Gamble to third. He is safe. And Nagowski trails him at second. Give him a run batted in. The Pirates are on the board at 6-1.
Right, but the highlight probably, though. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Pitch. And a swing of the ball, line right to the first baseman,
There we
Alonso.
go. This is the highlight.
He hit it to the right side, but Alonso was right there in the hitting ends.
But not without.
And now there's some sort of benches are clearing. There's shoving going on in front of home plate. The Mets and the Pirates are pushing and shoving on their way toward the mound.
Nagowski.
What about?
Hold on. Here's
and Nagowski. I don't know what happened. Now the bullpens will empty.
Yes, Nagowski. Called hero. He's already folk hero here in this town.
What if it was the big Nagowski against Polar Bear Pete?
That'd be something else. It almost was. Could have been. They were close proximity to each other.
Well, he's a clown. That whole thing, right? And then that pitcher yesterday, right, that came in, it was, and Greg Brown was, I guess he probably went through every bit of research he had to try to figure out, what was it, Zach Smith? Was that the pitcher's name that said he was a clown, according to Stroman? And then Greg was going through everything he could find to try to see where their paths crossed. And he couldn't, with Nagowski and this guy that called him a clown, he couldn't find it.
No.
And then he struck him out yesterday.
There we go, Jimbo. I saw something this weekend that blew me away on Saturday night. I'm still scarred by seeing this. I can't believe I saw one of my heroes, Feld. He was laying there on the turf. This blew me away. We get into that briefly. Scene. It was a tough scene. And do we have any time for the Olympics? They'll be on while we're
Okay,
I have time for that.
Live sports in the morning. Look at Matt back there.
Matt's clapping
it up.
All right, we'll go over some things.
Hey, business owners, what if you could cut all of your business expenses in half? It would be amazing, right? Well, you could start by switching to Spectrum Business. With Spectrum Business, you get the best internet and phone service for half of what you're paying now. Call 855-212-1788 to get faster internet, proven reliability, and the most value. Only with Spectrum Business. Call 855-212-1788 today to switch to Spectrum Business.
Hey, I'm Peter Bukowski, host of the Locked On Today podcast. Trying to stay on top of every big story in sports is a full-time job. I know, because it is my full-time job. But it's not yours. That's why we have a network of local experts ready to give you the inside scoop on everything you truly need to know in the sports world. And we do it every day to make sure you're always caught up on the latest and greatest in sports. Listen to the Locked On Today podcast every day on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts.